are killers, there are monsters, and then there's Dr. Danko. When you hear the name Dexter Morgan, you probably think of Miami's most charming blood spatter analyst, hiding a deeply repressed urge to kill beneath a carefully constructed moral code. If you've watched the TV show, you've seen some of Dexter's most formidable foes. Trinity, the ice truck killer, the Doomsday Duo. They're unforgettable in their own right, but none of them, not a single one, compare to what the books had in store with a villain that never made it to screen. Dr. Danko, from Dearly Devoted Dexter, the second novel in the series, is arguably the most terrifying, calculated, and sadistic threat Dexter has ever encountered. A villain so precise, so psychologically horrifying, that even Dexter, the master of clean, efficient death, found himself shaken, disturbed, and, for once, unsure, not just of what to do, but of what he was up against. So who is Dr. Danko? What makes him different from every other killer in the Dexter universe? And why does his absence from the television adaptation feel like a missed opportunity to explore true evil? Let's break him down, piece by piece. At first glance, Dr. Danko seems like a myth, a whisper from the shadows of some faraway war zone, a ghost from a covert past. But he's very real, and he comes to Miami with one thing in mind: revenge. Dr. Danko is a former military torturer from Central America, someone trained to keep people alive, not to save them, but to prolong their suffering. And that's the difference. Most serial killers kill for compulsion, for pleasure, for some psychological release. Dr. Danko, he doesn't kill right away. He breaks people, slowly, systematically, with clinical grace. He arrives in Dexter's Miami like a surgeon entering the operating theater. Clean gloves, sterilized tools, and a deeply personal list of targets. His victims are all connected to a covert US military operation he was once part of, and they're hunted down one by one, each subjected to the same precise ritual. But we'll get to that in a second, because the real horror of Dr. Danko isn't just in what he does, it's in how he does it. Imagine this: you're paralyzed, you're fully conscious, your mind is racing, screaming, begging, but your body won't respond. You can't move, you can't speak, you can't even blink fast enough to cry, and then the cutting begins. Dr. Danko doesn't just torture his victims, he paralyzes them first using a cocktail of sedatives and muscle relaxants. Then, with surgical precision, he begins his work, removing fingers, toes, ears, tongues, one piece at a time, always keeping the victim alive, always drawing it out over days, sometimes even longer. Every moment is engineered to be agonizing, but not fatal, because to Dr. Danko, death is too easy. What he wants is to erase identity, to reduce a person to nothing but a breathing husk, a mutilated body with a fully intact mind, left alone to suffer in silence forever. It's not murder, it's obliteration, and it's carried out like a performance. And the worst part, his victims are left alive, technically, but with nothing left of who they were. Dr. Danko is the kind of villain who doesn't just ruin lives, he repurposes them into monuments of agony. That level of cruelty, it's beyond even Dexter's understanding. Now, villains are always scarier when they get close, and Dr. Danko gets real close. He doesn't just float in the periphery like some distant threat. He injects himself directly into Dexter's world. He targets Kyle Chutsky, a federal agent working in Miami, and more importantly, Deborah Morgan's new romantic partner. This isn't just a power move, it's a precision strike. By attacking Chutsky, Dr. Danko effectively weaponizes Dexter's emotional weakness, his growing, reluctant attachment to his sister, Deb. She may not know who Dexter really is, but she is, in her own way, the one human being he genuinely tries to protect, and Danko goes straight for her heart. The capture and mutilation of Chutsky is one of the darkest moments in the entire series. Deborah is devastated. She's forced to confront the kind of evil that doesn't just kill, but lingers. And for Dexter, it's one of the first times he feels something disturbingly close to helplessness. Even with his dark passenger at full alert, there's a recognition that Dr. Danko is not just another target. He's something else entirely, something that doesn't fit neatly into the code of Harry. What makes Dr. Danko so dangerous isn't just the method, it's that he breaks Dexter's mental model. Dexter usually understands his prey. He can map their compulsions, their patterns. He can sense the madness behind their murders and draw a path to their capture. But Danko doesn't fit. He's not erratic. He doesn't leave messy clues. He doesn't seem to take joy in the bloodshed. Danko is cold, professional, and, in his own twisted mind, justified. To Dexter, this is alien because the entire structure structure of Dexter's code depends on the belief that monsters have patterns, urges, tells, weaknesses, but Danko's horror is built on control. He doesn't kill from rage or need. He kills with purpose. That makes him infinitely more dangerous, and Dexter knows it. So why didn't we see Dr. Danko in the Showtime adaptation? There are a few possible reasons, some practical, some creative, but most likely, his story was simply too dark, too sadistic to translate to television without losing what made him truly terrifying. Because this isn't Dexter playfully bantering with a blood spatter board. This is real horror, human disassembly, victims who survive but wish they hadn't. A method so precise and deliberate that even the audience might turn away. You can't dress this up with a clever monologue or a moral debate. Danko doesn't challenge Dexter's morality. He challenges his entire existence. When it comes to danger, most Dexter villains are lethal in familiar ways. They're chaotic. They're sloppy, they're broken and messy, and operating on unstable desires. But Dr. Danko, he's clean, precise, intentional. He brings torture, war, and revenge into Dexter's world of order. He breaks people down to the bone, both literally and emotionally. And he does it all with the calm, detached cruelty of a man who has seen true darkness and decided to become it. He doesn't need theatrics. He doesn't need attention. He just needs time and a scalpel. And that's why, of all the monsters in the Dexter literary universe, Dr. Danko stands alone as the most dangerous. Not because he kills more people, but because he kills what makes them human and leaves them behind to remember every second of it. Dr. Danko's surgical expertise wasn't learned in a back alley. It came from real medical training. In fact, he was once known as a doctor before his descent into madness, which makes his techniques even more unnerving. He doesn't just know how to cut, he knows how to cut perfectly. He understands anatomy down to the nerve clusters, making every procedure efficient and excruciatingly precise. His choice of sedatives, for example, is a horrifying detail often glossed over. Danko uses a combination that leaves the mind intact while locking down the body. Victims are awake, alert, and completely conscious throughout their own dismemberment. That cocktail isn't fictional. It's based on real paralytic agents used in surgery, only here they're weaponized. There's also the symbolism in his mutilations. Dr. Danko removes specific features in a repeating pattern. The tongue, fingers, ears, eyelids, senses and tools of communication, removed as if he's silencing his victims on every level. It's not just physical torment, it's a ritual of erasure. One final chilling layer. Danko leaves his victims alive, not just out of cruelty, but to deliver a message, to make sure those who once dehumanized him through covert missions, betrayal, and abandonment are forced to live with the memory of what he has become. His vengeance is slow, poetic, and disturbingly intimate. Dr. Danko is more than a villain. He's a psychological event, one that reshapes the people he encounters, including Dexter himself. If Dexter Morgan is a predator who hunts predators, then Dr. Danko is the one predator who doesn't flinch when the tables turn. He's the threat that doesn't get caught in a neat moral net, the killer who doesn't run because he knows exactly what he's doing, and even Dexter isn't sure how to stop him.